Welcome back to the Passionate Pivot. I'm Danielle Frank.
And I am Nikki Wright Rudolph.
We are going to be talking about resilience because Nikki and I have been having a lot of conversations with different people about lack of resilience lately. I
Yeah.
had recently been talking to a few different people about one of the few things that a lot of people are lacking these days is resilience. And you and I have had a conversation about where we think this is kind of rooted from. What are your thoughts?
I just think sometimes they just fall back. They don't, again, we talked about self-doubt the last episode, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes it's deeply rooted within when you're not getting that support or you just really don't want to do it. So, it could be the way they're raised. I hate to say that.
I think being the way that we raise, I mean, I will be the first to admit, when we were younger, we're Gen X, so we were free range children. We were either raising ourselves or raising each other. We ran around a lot.
Yeah.
It does not mean we didn't have wonderful, loving parents, but
Mhm.
we were
We
left
figured
to
it
have,
out.
yeah, we were left to
Yeah.
make those major mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that the consequences of those mistakes were as harsh as they are now, which
Not at
makes
all.
it very scary to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that makes it really hard. And also as a parent, parenting a younger generation, y-
We try
you
to
know what?
fix it. We don't want them to go through it. So
We
we
don't
put
want them
all
to
of
have to
this.
struggle through
That's right.
something that has an
That's right.
easy solve.
That's right.
But unfortunately, what that does is also create a scenario where kids don't like they fail, but they're not failing in ways where they can grow from it. And
Mm-hmm. It's more sugar coated. Okay.
yeah.
It's more sugar coated. And I believe that that's the issue. I had an old school grandmother. I had an old school mama. And we're going to sit here, we're going to have a conversation, we're going to talk about it. And this is what you're not going to do anymore.
Mhm.
Whereas the way I raised my children, again, they call, what you need? What's the matter? Oh, they can really totally F something up. And I was like, it's okay.
I know.
Knowing
It's
that it's
okay,
not okay.
baby. It's
It's
okay.
not okay for real.
Well, we're
But
concerned about mental health, which
that's
probably was
right.
not as much of a concern
That's
back in the
right.
days. It was not something that was really discussed as
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
So I think
It's kind of
that's
like get over it, get over it, and we don't want that for our children. So what
right.
does that do to them then? Yeah,
Unfortunately, it does not give them the opportunity to. I don't know if it's not an opportunity. I think the clear thing is more, it doesn't teach them that the world doesn't end
that's right.
when you make a mistake. I also think in many ways that's where the cancel culture came from.
That's true.
Make a mistake and we're just going to get rid of you
That's
instead of
it.
giving the breath of allowing people to learn and grow from their mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we're not talking about some of the big scandals that are going out there, like in Hollywood with the sex scandals and like that's
Yeah, that's
unforgivable.
crazy, right?
But I'm talking about there are
Things
some
that
people
people say, things that
mistakenly.
were acceptable back when we were younger. It's kind of like they pulling all of this crap up. Eh, Come on, you and I were talking about a situation where we were speaking about the house and certain things that how you would
Yes.
describe. Yeah, you would get counseled for that today.
Okay, so I did not know this. This is a term that I never thought twice about, but I was talking about how many bedrooms I had in my house, and I said, "Yeah, my master bedroom isn't that big." And Nikki said, "You do know where the source of that word is." Now, weirdly enough, coming from a sea town, and my dad was in the Navy, my grandfather was in the Merchant Marines.
Hmm.
I don't know why I thought of it as a cabin of a ship.
Hmm.
I don't know why I thought that, but no, there's another indication there.
Hmm.
And Nikki was kind enough to point it out. And I just was horrified, first
Hmm.
of all, and never said that again.
Mhm.
never said
But
that
it's
again.
what again, it's one of those things though, but it's like 2019, it wouldn't have bothered anybody.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? But now it's just one of those things like, oh, you have to watch that. But those are the things. It's like we don't allow our kids to really make the
There's bigger
mistakes.
consequences
Yeah,
when you make a mistake
yeah,
often,
that's it.
especially if you make it publicly. So it
That's it.
does, it does,
And they
hinder
would
your
rather just not do
resiliency.
it anyway. It's like, well,
Mhm.
you know what? I'm not gonna do it and forget it. So all the hopes, the dreams, the passion behind whatever it is, unless you're a rebel, some
Right.
rebels don't care. But it it's deep.
So I was doing research. I was doing research on resiliency and some of the more common denominators, saw whether or not it was meeting up with some of the things that we were talking about. And one of
Hmm.
the first things we were talking about is kindness to yourself. Because when we beat ourselves up, it's like putting a boot on our own neck, and keeping us holding us down from learning and growing. It is not acceptable. And unfortunately, that does come from ourselves, but it also does come from listening to people on social media when they're, going onto your posts and pointing out every single thing you do wrong.
Right.
Like that's part of judgment.
Hmm.
So we need to be kind to ourselves and understand that we make mistakes and take care of ourselves, but also show kindness outwardly and give people grace.
That's it.
Um, I'm not saying the deplorable things; those are different. I'm talking
Right.
about be non-judgmental, not being so harsh or critical of how a person dresses, how a person looks, their body, their
Hmm.
style, their how they talk, their education. You have not lived their lives
That's
and they
right.
have not lived yours. So the best thing to start with, be kind and less judgmental of yourself.
And that
And that
pours out.
pours out.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that helps with resiliency in the long
Hmm.
run.
Because I mean, you could think about it, just like from where you and I met. That was one of our main things, right? Like seriously, that was one of our main things, to be kind, pour out love, and it came back. And
Yes.
that's when the advocacy starts. You
Yes.
advocate for yourself, people start to love you, and they'll give you grace for your mistakes or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't see any of the negative things within a person because I think that it takes a hell of a lot to even put something on social media.
That is true. I
So
mean,
it's like
I
I'm
think
going
for most people, there are some people that blindly, like, just
no, speaking for me.
no thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
speaking for me, I know how hard that was. It's like, because that
Mm.
goes back to the self-doubt, right?
Yep.
And again, it's like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Eventually, I'm going to do it. But just to know how I felt before I did it and how afraid I was, thinking of what other people may say. So I'm that girl that's going to be like, girl, that purple is the prettiest purple I ever seen. Or,
That's true. That's true.
like, look at those beautiful, whatever it is. And I just feel like it does come from within.
I think also when we're beating ourselves up, I think, it's an injustice not just to yourself, it is to others as well, because
It
really
is.
you are, diminishing your value, diminishing what you can potentially bring out to the world, and
That's right.
I think being a little bit more patient and, tolerant of your mistakes, not in the sense of make a mistake and not grow and learn from it. I think it's important to do that, but just, like negative self-talk, it's a real thing. Don't beat yourself up so much. Don't.
And I hate to be this person, but I have to keep it real.
Oh,
When I'm around those type of people, it's too negative for me. The energy is negative. I don't want to be around those type of
I
people.
have been that person though.
No,
Like
not the
I
type of
would not as much anymore, but I would beat the crap out of myself.
but yours was a little different because you took it within. You did not express it in that way.
True.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's I'm talking about deep.
Yeah.
but it wasn't all the time.
Yeah.
You have somebody is just like everything is just always, oh, I suck. Oh, baby, what do you want me to say? I can't tell you that you don't
Mhm.
suck too often. Like, what do you want me to do? But it does, like you said, sometimes you just need to give yourself more grace so that you can have more positive energy, even allowing it to come to you.
I think this goes to the other point that we were going to make about resiliency is who are you keeping company with?
Absolutely.
Because negativity produces drama,
Thank you.
and drama is a distraction from your mission, your purpose,
That's
your
right.
passion. So even another person that might be as passionate about the same thing as you are,
Hmm.
and they may have wonderful attributes, but if there is a constant negativity or constant drama, you got to look at that.
Hmm.
Like, how is this affecting you? Are you feeling as though when you're going through a hard time, when that person is communicating with you, are you able to rebound
That's
from
true.
the hard times that you're in, or does it just make it more
Push you further down.
intense?
That's right.
It
Yep.
it might not even be about you, it might be their own drama, blah, and it's so much bigger than a breadbasket, but it's also you're taking it in.
and
Like, a
that
lot
was
of us are
that's the
empaths.
person who I was gonna say I was once that girl,
Mhm.
and excuse me, and now I'm no longer. It's just like I can't allow that to get into me. So that's when I kind of walk. I love you, but sometimes you just have to walk away because negativity drives off of negativity. And here it is, you spent your entire time trying to fix everybody and you're
Mhm.
lacking. And it's too much drama. Nobody wants to do that.
I think that, there's that when it comes to the drama, but then there's also relying a little bit too heavily on external encouragement. So, like, in other words, you need to have respect for yourself
Hmm.
and stop relying on others. You can't build resiliency when you're just always counting on others' acknowledgement to like create your self worth. So,
That's a big one,
it's a
Danielle.
big one because we all enjoy and feel validated when somebody is sitting there saying, "You're doing great."
Hmm.
However, it's a nice bonus, but in the long run, it's okay to feel it in
Yeah, you
yourself.
have to. Yeah, you have to. It's like one of those things too. We're talking about posting on social media.
Mhm.
You post and get no likes and you take it down. Girl.
I could tell you right now, some of the stuff that I've worked the hardest on, I haven't gotten a lot of traction on,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still my favorite and the thing that I have pride
And
in.
I'm leaving it up there
I am
because
leaving it
it's
up there
from
because
you.
mhm,
Right.
right.
We've come a
So
long
I
way.
think you need to kind of know how to really focus on yourself and have that self-worth and self-respect and learn how to self-soothe when times are tough.
Right.
If you don't have the self-respect to do that, then you're going to have a hard time if you're only relying on other people to validate whether or not you're any good. You
That's
got to
right.
know that you're good for yourself. And I actually am going to read a quote that really hit me hard. I'm going to read this. It's actually, I was reading it in an article. The author, because I like to give credit where credit's due, her name is Sherry Campbell. She said, "The resilient carry an attitude of faith that all things will work out in their favor because they deeply believe in the value and worth of who they are, what they have to offer, what their goals are, and the importance of their overall purpose." So, in that self respect, when you carry all of those things, you can be grounded in faith in yourself. It's not some blind faith that it
That's
has,
right.
where are you getting all this like confidence
Hmm.
from?
You already
No,
know
it's
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 there.
It's already there.
Right.
So I'm sorry, I read that and I was like,
I
"Oh,
love that. I love that.
I love that."
And you know
That
what? Sometimes, when you think about it, we do need to have those moments where we do see these beautiful words from somebody else. And it's not about validating, it's just like, I needed that. I needed
right.
that. And to really carry that.
It is interesting because there's been a few different things that have happened in the past couple of months that would probably have shook my confidence
That's
quite a
right.
bit,
Mhm.
um, a few years back. But that faith in myself and in my capabilities and in the things that I've grown from has given me such an incredible peace that everything is going to be okay. Yes, I did have a moment where I was having some self doubts. That's normal.
Right.
But I was
You
able
didn't
to kind of
stay in it.
no, not in the slightest. I mean, I've stayed in those kind of scenarios for years
Yeah.
back in the day. But now, I think it's really having, again, the self-respect, the, um,
Self-love.
awareness
Yes.
the awareness and the understanding that I have built all these different life experiences that has proven to me already I have evidence that I can overcome and that I can grow and that I can build things. I have evidence in my own life. You have evidence, dear listener,
Mhm.
that you have overcome things. You've overcome harder things that you can grow from and really make a huge difference in your life. And so when you carry that in your heart, that really makes a big difference.
And I believe too that sometime when we have to it's the mindfulness, right? I believe that that is the key thing with a lot of us. If we just actually, like I said, sometimes you have to just rest that brain.
Mhm.
And when you're feeling that negativity coming on, you have to, find some time to yourself where you could just sit back and do some type of relaxing exercises, mental relaxation. Think about again all of the wonderful things that you've done. Be your own cheerleader. Sometimes you just have to get your pom poms and do it yourself,
We were
right?
talking about nurturing ourselves and
That's
nurturing
right.
ourselves to grow is
That's
so
right.
important.
It
I
is.
used an analogy earlier today, Nikki. We were talking about it that have you ever gotten a plant that's just not thriving?
Mhm.
Um, its environment was not
That's
healthy.
right. That's right.
And it's up to us to nurture it, to create those pieces that is going to create an environment for growth.
That's
And
right.
it's our own personal responsibility for resiliency. Because, like, we can't expect a plant to be resilient when it's a plant that needs a lot of moisture and all this stuff,
And you
but
got it
we're
in
putting it in the
Arizona.
Sahara Desert.
Right.
No, it's up to us to create the environment for self-nurturing. I find it's like you said, it's our body, it's our souls, it's our
That's
minds.
right.
When we are chasing after a passion and wanting to have resilience when we feel like we're getting stuck or we're having doubts or whatever. Because again, just because we're saying these are things you have to build on does not mean it stops. It will
That's
always
right.
happen. It's resilience is about how quickly you
You
can
can come up
rebound
out
from
of
it.
it. And not only that, too, when I think about it, it's the realistic expectations for us, too. Again, sometimes we expecting all of these other things to come about, but is it realistic?
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that that's a big thing too. And it's kind of like it did not happen as fast as I wanted it to, so I'm quitting.
Right. But in the meantime, it's like it's like I said, when you plant a seed, there's a certain amount of germination. You can't suddenly go, "Why do I not have a tree that's bearing me fruit right now?"
Right. I
No, you
just
have
planted
to.
it yesterday.
They just planted it just yesterday, and I
Yeah.
wake up and look at I got nothing. I got dirt.
Uh-huh.
But I think that we have to do things every single day to nurture that plant that is ourselves
Mhm.
and so that we can build that resiliency and you know I've read tons of different things and read even psychology reports and stuff about some of the most successful people and resilient people are doing certain things every day, and it's sometimes very, very small.
I was just about to say that. That is so funny because it's like we have to learn to actually stay in the present, right? I think that
Mindfulness of this moment.
that's it, that moment. And don't worry about 2026. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know, I'm
Like at
very
that
worried about
moment.
it, Nikki. I'm very worried.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not gonna talk to you about it because you're not gonna stress me out.
No, girl. But I mean, everything from taking care of your body because
That's
your
right.
body is what's going to carry you through. Does this mean I need you to go hit the gym or lift a ton
No,
of weights or whatever? No, you're going to do something. It could be every morning in bed, stretching those muscles
that's
for
right.
5 minutes or going for a walk with your dog. That is
Hmm.
your moment to get your body moving.
That's right.
There needs
Stay
to be
hydrated.
a small amount of time. When it comes to the things that we're putting in our body, yes, we're gonna eat junk sometimes. We're
Hmm.
gonna eat junk sometimes,
Right.
but the bulk majority should be coming from things that are making our bodies function better than
That's
average, and
right.
water is definitely a big one. And then when it comes to our soul, I'm turning off my phone because I didn't earlier. I'm getting bloops and beeps. Um, I think practicing mindfulness, I've always had a hard time with this as a person that used to really suffer badly with anxiety. I've gotten a lot better with it.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I don't have it occasionally, but it's more stressors. Um, and that's always about thinking about the future, right? Mindfulness is about focusing on the present, right here and right now.
That's right.
I was taught this one methodology that I swear to God, it works every time. The best way I've utilized it is making sure I do it first thing in the morning. I will forget because we're human and we do. And I will find sometimes stress starts to build up and I will stop and do this practice and it works. So that is breathe in through your nose for 4, hold it for 4 seconds and you're counting it in your head. Then breathe it out through your mouth very slowly for 8. And you repeat this a minimum of 5 times. Now, why is that? Part of it is that by having to count and measure the breaths, you are in that moment grounding yourself in the moment. You can't think about what's going on here, there, and everywhere. You have to count and be mindful of what you're doing. 5 times because it takes a little while sometimes to turn off your brain and be focused on getting that perfect breath. Breathe in, hold. There is no real benefit of I don't think, of holding it for 4 seconds. It's just about the counting, right?
Hmm.
Once you've done that, sometimes I'll do it 10. Once I've done that and in I'm like, "Okay, that's my last one." I don't go about my day. I'm a visual person, so what I will first thing do is look for the most vibrant color in the room. I'll look for the most vibrant color in the room, outside, and I'll go, "Gee, look at that." And I'll look at it and I'll look at the gradients. And for some reason, it's usually more vibrant than it usually is because I'm in the moment. Or I may think of how much I may love somebody in this moment. The only problem with that one is sometimes it leads me into thinking about something in the future.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about sometimes how my body feels, um, how the weather is in that moment. Finding something that places me in the here and now, even if it's only for 3 minutes, sets my day in a totally different way. And if I start to have anxiety or stress when I do that, it pulls me back. Definitely.
That's what's up, Danielle. That is really good. I hope that somebody can use that. I'll probably try to because I normally do that when I'm angry and ready to beat somebody up. I'll just
I actually, someone had told me to do that right before having, like, say, a conversation with someone that you know is going to be difficult.
right, right,
Um,
right. Oh,
you
that
have a big
yeah.
project to do that because it grounds you in the moment. And this is like just a little resilience is about more than just bouncing back, but
Mhm.
doing the practice. You have to practice these
Before,
things.
yeah,
Even
before
when
you
you
even
don't
get
need
into
it,
it. Right.
you do need to practice.
I love that.
Um, Now, the other one I want to talk about, as much as we're talking about, you know, being kind and slowing down and being mindful, um, we also have to be driven in the things that we do.
That is huge.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's kinda like, I'm praying for it, but you gotta move your feet.
I think when it comes to resiliency, it's very easy to get derailed.
Mhm.
Very easy to get derailed. It could be from some of the things that we talked about, like you weren't taking care of your body, you're stressing about things in the future, you are around people that are creating drama, you don't have the self-respect. Okay, all those things. But if you have this is only one part of it, because I do feel like you can get manic if you're if you're only only working on drive and grit.
Right,
Like drive
right.
is great, you can push through a lot of things. But when we're challenged and we are committed to getting up and going through the process and learning to kind of keep on going, let's put it this way. Every single day I get derailed. Every day. In some way,
Mhm,
shape, or form. Like, I have ADHD, girl. I am going to
mhm,
be working on something, and then I will be like, squirrel,
mhm.
I'll see a shiny thing. Or I'll think, okay, I have to clean up this mess I made on the floor. Okay, this happened this morning. I was wiping something up that the cat left. Next thing I know, my refrigerator was pulled out from the wall. Now, I had other things I had to do. I did clean up that behind there, but that's besides the point. I needed to refocus on what I wanted to do today, which was do the podcast. And it was getting late. And I'm like, nope, Danielle, refocus, call up Nikki, and let's get to business, because
Right.
I could have gone down the rabbit hole. Next thing I know, I'm
It would've
pulling
been
out the oven. I'm pulling out, all kinds of things, because this happens to me. Resilience is not about the fact that you never get derailed. You
right,
will get derailed.
right.
It could be 100 times a day. Resilience is getting yourself back on track. And part
Mhm,
of that is drive and being gritty and having that determination to want what you want and go
mhm.
after it.
That's right. Your why.
Well, yeah, goes back to definitely your why.
Mhm.
But passion does come into play for all of that.
It does.
That will
And
carry you
sometimes
through.
and the thing is, I don't want people to think that it's something, you can always understand that you may have bumps in the road, but we also want to recognize that you can be okay with a little bit of change. It doesn't have to always be the way you exactly want it. Be adaptable to doing it a little bit different instead of just saying I'm no longer going to do it. Because I've
Yeah.
had to do that, quite often. Because I have a Type A personality, and it's like, no, I'm going to do it this way. But be okay with saying, okay, maybe I can jump off the track a little bit, go a different direction. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to end up where you should be.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's not necessarily saying, kind of like what happened to me the other week, where I was writing for days,
Mhm.
trying to focus my concept. And I was, getting squirrely, then driving myself back in
Mhm.
it. But I was also hitting a wall as well.
Right.
I had my grit, I had my determination, I was
Mhm.
driven, but I also was unfocused as well.
That's it.
So, yes, it was about recognizing that I needed to also pivot in that scenario as well.
That's
And
right.
it doesn't mean I didn't have grit. It doesn't mean that wasn't driven. It just means the path I was taking needed to change.
That's right.
So yeah, which gets into mental agility,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stamina. Yeah, because like I said, some days we lose steam and kind of like I think of you ever get to the end of the day, Nikki, and you're like, "Shit, I was supposed to work out today. I was going to start working out today." Right? 'Cause
Mhm.
I'm saying this because every day I go, "I'm gonna work out today."
Yeah, we
And then at
supposed
the
to
end
been
of the day,
doing
I'm
that.
like, "God damn it, I didn't do it. I'm
Mhm.
gonna do it tomorrow."
Mhm.
But my dog is barking.
That's a
Sorry.
sweet baby.
Penny, she sounds so aggressive, but she's not.
That's a sweet
Um,
girl.
so I mean, we sit there and we think, "Okay, I wanna do something," but we get derailed. And part of that is, yes, it is the grit about for the many times that we are getting derailed throughout the day. Again, it could happen to be 100 times in a day and then
Mhm.
getting ourselves back on track. It's also about having skill sets and setting things up for yourself to make that successful. For me, that's alarms. I set alarms throughout the day and I label them as either things that I'm supposed to be doing or, okay, sometimes it's things I'm supposed to do. And then 5 minutes later, did you do it?
Right. Right.
Sometimes it is, I mean, just as an example for working out, I would fold up clothing and everything right outside my bed or right outside the shower or something, you know, that it's there, it's present, it's ready for me to go. And there's no, you know, thoughts about it. It's going into automatic pilot. But you got to have the agility and the stamina to understand that you just gotta keep finding ways. You gotta try different new ways until you find that perfect fit that's gonna work for you.
Yep.
Do you ever feel like you have to do that stuff, Nikki?
I just don't do it, Danielle.
Oh my god, Nikki! I just say, "Fuck it, just let it fly."
And I'll just figure it out another day.
Yeah,
I
but you
I know it's not good. Like I'm telling you guys it's not good to do that.
mm,
But again, that's when I understand that sometime I have to pivot it in a different direction.
but that's the thing, you do
But
accomplish
not at
things.
that moment. It's the truth. I get it
But
done
you
though.
gotta think that there are different things in your life that you do consistently that you didn't used to do because you had to create systems in order to have the agility and the stamina to get through it.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's
hell,
what
we
my
did that as parents.
yeah, and it's true though. It's like with the budgeting. I have this system that seriously that I do that is very important that I write down everything that I spend or everything that comes in every single day. So yeah,
So that right there,
that's
it's just a
accomplished.
different aspect of your
Right.
life. So
Yes.
it's about finding those moments.
hmm
That's what gives you resilience is
Right.
that you are setting
Because
up
I know if
systems.
I did not do it at the end of whenever, it's like, where did this go?
Right.
So, like, oh, I thought I had this here. So it's very important for me to do that. And that is something that I have adapted in my life every day for the last 3 years. Absolutely.
And did you find that you're a lot more resilient when it comes to your finances?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I know
there you
where
go.
every dime is. I do. And it has helped me tremendously. It really has. And then I'm rewarded at the end because now when it comes to, because the way I set things up now, right? Before when you had something coming in, right? And all of a sudden it's no longer there because you're chasing the bag, as I constantly say. When I find that that is the reason why I focus on something and it's the money, it never works out, right?
Mhm.
So when money was coming in like that, you don't pay attention to it. So
Right.
now that I have my passion behind my chair again, I focus and do things differently, and that's why I only work 3 days a week.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah.
But the money comes in because you set up the systems for it.
And I don't have 99 different things on my menu.
That helps. that helps.
Yeah, it's a system. You set up a system and you create those goals, and it works, but you have to stay in it. You can't just switch it up if it's
Mhm.
working. Now you can add to it, say, okay, yeah. So, but other
Well,
things, no, I'll probably just lay down and figure it out tomorrow. Like, yeah, I'll go hit the treadmill tomorrow.
I know, right. I will say this, when it comes to resiliency, I think that it is something that really does benefit everybody as a whole,
It
especially as
does.
the world is changing. There's so
Hmm.
many different things that are changing, whether you are in, you work for somebody or you work for yourself, it doesn't matter. Um, you're chasing your passion or you're still trying to figure out what it is.
Right.
Having resiliency is a true marker of whether or not you're going to have success, because you need to understand, I don't care who you are. You could be Beyonce.
That's right.
You could be Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
You are still going to have failures, roadblocks,
That's right.
deviations that you didn't expect, and how quickly and how agile you become when it comes to bouncing back and rebounding and going for it and taking chances. That's going to determine the level of success. I would even
Absolutely.
dare to say the chances are people with that kind of epitome of success. I could have sworn I once read something about Michael Jordan having more misses than he does
Yeah.
shot
Hmm.
wins, but it's because he kept on going. He did,
Consistency. That's right. You
and a
don't give
ridiculous
up.
amount of shots. He didn't stop taking shots. So understand, you might feel those failures and it may make you feel like you want to end. But the truth is that 99% of the time, no one else saw that failure. Just
That's
keep on
right.
going. Just keep on
And be
going.
kind to yourself, right? That's the key thing. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some grace because it's very important. I sit around, I joke, I laugh a lot, but when it's all said and done, you really have to love yourself more, give yourself grace, and understand that we all go through something, you know? Just be consistent. Don't give up. We're
Mm,
we're cheering for you, but most importantly, cheer for yourself.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I think that's it, Nikki. I
Oh,
think we don't
another
have
great
anything.
episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Definitely.
like all of them.
Well, tune in next week, next Tuesday, for our next episode. In the meantime, make sure that you subscribe, leave a comment, rate us, whatever, anything that you can do to support us. We really appreciate it. We are really hoping to bring more opportunity to grow our community and
Hmm.
maybe have more chances where we can all talk together and help each other grow and support each other and have that wonderful, resilient community that's supporting each other and cheering each other on. That's something that I think is both Nikki and my dream to
Yes.
have, is to make sure we have that set up for you guys. So
Yes.
coming soon, coming soon. Anything else, Nick?
Of course. We love you guys and we really appreciate you. Please, please, please be sure to follow us on all our social media channels at The Passionate Pivot. That's on IG, our Facebook page, our TikTok, as well as our YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your people about us. We are really looking forward to more wonderful conversations. And if you have questions or you want us to talk about something, just shoot us a DM. And hopefully, very soon on Thursdays, we will be laughing out loud on Thursdays with our live on YouTube. But as always, Daniel and I love you. If you've not heard that, we do love you. And Daniel, I love you.
I love you too, Nick.